Welcome back to Finding Your Frequency, the show where we meet people here in North Florida, find out who they are, where they're headed with themselves or their business, and what it takes to be successful. And today, we're joined by Jason Shepard from Coastal Wildlife and Pest Services. Jason, how are you?
I'm great. It's good to be here.
Thanks for being here. The first thing I think of when I think Coastal Wildlife and Pest is the wildlife. I think snakes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Raccoons,
Yep.
bats. So you handle all of those.
All the stuff nobody wants to mess with.
How'd you get comfortable with that?
You know, it was a long time ago. I was actually in the glass industry, and I wanted to do something different. And I just came across a job post on Indeed, and I thought, that's interesting. So I went and interviewed, talked to the regional manager for that company, got started, and I fell in love with it. Really solving these problems. You get to be, and this is what a lot of people in our industry say, you almost get to be the hero for a lot of people. So we're one of the only companies in our area that take calls 24 hours a day. So we'll get calls. I just had a call a couple weeks ago at like 3 a.m. A lady woke up and there was a bunch of noise downstairs, came down, there was a raccoon in her kitchen. And so they called St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. They called us. We come out, and sure enough, she had a raccoon in her kitchen. So we had to catch it and get it out of her house. But that's the stuff, you know, you think that could never happen to you until it does.
Oh, it does. Well, everyone's wondering, what's the most dangerous encounter you've had? You know, where was it? How tough was it? The one that made you think, am I sure I want to do this?
Yeah, so what brings me back, if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me that question, I would be rich, but it takes me back to the very first snake call I handled as an expert in wildlife control.
Were you actually an expert at that point?
At that point, I was brand new. But I get to this lady's house. She has a snake on her pool deck, and I get there, and it's a cottonmouth, and it's about 4 feet long and massive.
Yeah.
And I was terrified. Like, I had all my tools, my snake tongs and stuff, but I had never really handled these snakes much. This was the first one I had to do on my own. And so my adrenaline was pumping, and now I've handled thousands of them, so you get to learn the way they're going to act and their body behaviors, and if they look like this, they're in a defensive posture. At that point, I didn't know any of that stuff. Right. So I didn't know when I grabbed a hold of this thing what it was going to do. But I got through it. I grabbed a hold of it. There are a lot of muscle, but we were able to get it off her pool deck, and she was extremely happy.
I can imagine she would. That's good for business. When they're happy, you give them the invoice. Here we go, right? I mean, just being honest.
That's it.
So you're here because your business is growing rapidly. Why do people sign on with Coastal?
Yeah, so we're a unique company in that most of your typical pest control companies, they handle all your like roaches, ants, spiders, and they're really great at that stuff. But if you have something like we just talked about, a snake on your pool deck or a snake gets in your garage, and a lot of people think, oh, how often does that really happen? We deal with it every single day. When that happens, a lot of times those pest control companies aren't equipped to do that. And so for us, if you're on our pest control program, we take care of all of that. You have a snake in your garage, you call us, we handle it. You have armadillos on your property tearing up your flower beds, you call us, we handle it. Raccoons on your property, moles, all of that. And so because we are really an all-inclusive pest control company, people see the value in that. And so we've exploded over the last few years. We have hundreds of customers, and it's continually growing. Our team is growing. And that's really the benefit of our company.
Seems like a very simple question to ask, but I will anyway. There are a lot of pest control companies that are big national companies, right? Like the big box stores. Yeah. You're not.
Yeah.
What is the benefit for a customer to have a live local company that they can call on in North Florida?
Yeah, so I've talked about a couple of them, but we get a lot, and I won't call any names, but we get a lot of customers that call us from these other companies, and I'll just say what I tell them. If we had 20,000 customers, one customer is not a big deal. And it's a really unfortunate situation, but that's the way it is. For us, when you have hundreds or even just a couple thousand customers that you deal with on a daily basis, you're able to spend more time with those people. So we get a lot of compliments on the fact that you can get a hold of us 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter what time it is. We get a lot of customers that they've hired another company. It's a Saturday night at 8 o'clock. They got something going on, but they can't get a hold of that company, so they call us. And so really it's the customer service side of it. And you may get the same expert service, you may get the same technician that can handle your pest control, but if you can't get a hold of them when that emergency happens, we see that a lot of people value that, and that's a big deal.
Everyone you know needs what you're selling. And that's a really good thing. It's a great business to be in.
Yeah.
Jason Shepard from
Great to be
Coastal.
here.
Absolutely. Check him out, folks, for all of your wildlife, snake, alligator?
We don't do alligators.
All right, snakes. Snakes and raccoons, folks, primarily. Bears?
No bears.
No bears,
All that's
right?
FWC.
Right. Thanks for joining us on Finding Your Frequency. We'll see you next time.